new details on a Greenville County murder case from 2021. And deputies issued new charges against two people who they say spread explicit images of the victim just a few months before she was killed.
One of them is already in jail, charged with her murder. Christina Parcell was found dead inside her home on Canebrake Drive in October of 2021. Deputies say she was stabbed over 30 times. Mello and Zachary Hughes are both charged with harassment and criminal conspiracy. Deputies say they worked together to send explicit images of Parcell to several people and businesses. Hughes was already in custody. He's also facing charges for Parcell's murder. Mello and Parcell shared a child.
Now we're bringing you team coverage today. Fox Carolina's Grace Runkle will be breaking down the timeline of those events for us. And Zach Perletsky was in the court when Mello and Hughes both went before a judge this afternoon.
Zach, what can you tell us about that hearing?
Well, Carrie and Tori, Hughes and Mello were both at bond court about an hour and a half ago wearing matching orange jumpsuits, presumably the first time in well over a year these two have been in the same room together at the same time. Now, the bond hearing did not last very long. Both were given bonds. Zachary Hughes given a $10,000 surety bond for these two new charges. But again, he is facing charges of murder and is already under no bond. Meanwhile, Mello was given a $15,000 bond plus some stipulations with his passport. If previous cases gets dropped, he would have to relinquish that to law enforcement. Now, all of this stems months before Christina Parcell was brutally murdered in her home in Greenville County. According to the assistant solicitor who spoke at today's bond hearing, they found evidence that in April of 2021, Mello sent Zachary Hughes a message saying, quote, harass the expletive out of her, referring to the victim. Now in May, just a month later, emails from Mello's account were sent to Zachary Hughes containing some graphic photos of Christina Parcell. And then a month to 2 months later, some packages were sent out to several people, some businesses containing those explicit images. And we do know that according to cell phone locations, authorities and officials with the solicitor's office say that Zachary Hughes was in the city, when those packages were sent, both from Greenville and also Knoxville, Tennessee. And again, cell phone locations shows that Hughes was in both of those cities the days those packages were sent. Now, we also heard from the sister of the victim, Christina Parcell, who says that some of the packages that were sent to family members, friends of hers who have children in the home, meaning that if the children were the ones to have opened those packages, there's a very good chance they would have seen some of these grotesque, explicit images. She talked for about 2 minutes directly to both of the suspects who did not make eye contact back with her. But again, Zachary Hughes already in jail awaiting those murder charges, so his bond not really meaning too much since he's already under no bond. Mello facing that $15,000 bond with those passport stipulations. And coming up tonight at 5, we'll play you some of that emotional sound from Christina's sister. But for now, we want to send it back to the studio with Grace Runkle. She's got a timeline to break down this case that has had a lot of twists and turns over the last 2 years.
Well, that's right, Zach. It's been pretty confusing, so we want to walk you through this whole case from the beginning. Like we just found out today, according to investigators, this all kind of really started in June and July of 2021. Mello and Zachary Hughes were sending explicit images of Christina Parcell to people and businesses. Now, Mello is Parcell's former partner, and they share a child together. But just a few months after they say those images were sent, Christina Parcell was found dead in her home in Greer with more than 30 stab wounds on her body, and that's really what launched into the rest of this case. Days later, deputies arrested Bradley Post. They say it was based on evidence found in the house on Canebrake Drive that investigators found while they were in there investigating the murder. Now, shortly after that, we saw Mello get arrested on charges related to a custody violation involving the daughter he had with Parcell. In November, Zachary Hughes, a Juilliard-trained piano player, is charged with Parcell's murder, and 7 months later, in June 2022, the solicitor's office files a motion asking a judge to order Hughes to release the passcode to his iPhone. They say there was critical evidence in there they needed access to. Then we found out that the court ruled in September in favor of forcing Hughes to release that passcode, but investigators are unable to get into the phone until until February of this year. Court documents say they essentially had to hack into the phone themselves. We found out in April. That's because Hughes says he could not remember his passcode. So the solicitor's office is asking the judge to hold him in contempt because they think he is lying. And that, of course, brings us back up to today when the two were charged with conspiracy. Now, coming up at 5, we're going to break down what we know about the relationship between Mello and Hughes. Live in the studio, Grace Runkle, Fox Carolina News.